In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Our today's topic is UV visible spectroscopy, and we will talk about instrumentation. It's the lecture 2 of UV visible spectroscopy. We will discuss about the measurement, the methods of the measurement, instrumentation. Two type of instruments are used here: single beam spectrophotometer and double beam spectrophotometer. Double beam spectrophotometer is further resolved into two types: time resolved and space resolved spectrophotometers. Scattering of light. Whenever you measure, you will place the sample in spectrophotometer. Scattering of light take place at the refractions at the interfaces. For example, it's a cuvette shown, and these are the interface between the air and that of the solution inside, and these interfaces called the scattering. The light is scattered here, incident power is lost somewhat here on the scattering, some amount is lost here at the scattering in the solution, and similarly when the light passes and emerges from the other end, some scattering also take place here at the second edge of the cuvette as well. And these scattering are caused due to the large number of molecules, larger molecules, air bubbles, etc. And it can be compensated by using a comparison between a reference cell containing only the solvent and there will be a solution cell in which the sample is taken. So by the comparison of both reference cell and the sample cell, we may overcome this scattering effect. As we talk about instrumentation, the construction of a traditional UV visible spectrophotometer is exactly similar to those of all other spectroscopic instruments, in which one of the source is taken, then we take a sample container, and then there will be a detector and amplifier and a recorder. And we also used here the same type of the diagram is for the UV visible spectroscopy. uh, it's a simple single beam UV visible spectrophotometer. We have a source of radiations which would the radiation will fall on the monochromator or filter, which would take or specify or filter some type of the radiation or some wavelength of the radiation, and its intensity is controlled by the shutter that would fall on the reference cell separately and on the sample cell. We first place the reference cell in the spectrophotometer and take the results, and it is called as null detection, or you will take the null point detection, and you would make is for the reference cell we would make the value or at the readout equal to 0. Then we would use a sample cell instead of the reference cell, and the value for the sample cell is noted p node and p. Whenever the light passes through the sample cell, the resulting power or resulting intensity of the radiation will be called as P. The difference between P and P node is detected here at a photodetector, which is amplified to the readout to take the results. While the second type of the spectrophotometer is a double beam spectrophotometer, in which reference and samples both are placed simultaneously at the same time in the solution or in the spectrophotometer in the instrument, and these both would receive radiation at a time and detected, those radiations are detected and the output is taken to be a difference. These double beam spectrophotometers are of two types. Double beam spectrophotometer, one is called as a space resolved spectrophotometer, in which we have two detectors, one for the sample, second for the reference. Mm, the instrument is designed in such a way that the radiations from the both side, from the sample as well as a reference cell, would cover the same distance. The radiation emitting through the filter or the monochromator, which is a monochromatic radiation, will move the same distance through the reference cell as well as through the sample cell, and will reach at the same time at the amplifier, and amplifier would take the difference. The radiations emitted through the reference cell will be taken to be a P naught, which is incident radiations or incident power, while the radiation emitting through the sample cell will be taken to be a P, and the difference of P naught and P is read here at the readout after amplification. This is a space resolved spectrophotometer, and mind it, it uses two detectors separately for the reference cell as well as for the sample cell. While in case of time resolved double beam spectrophotometer, we have only one detector. The path is compensated by using the mirrors here. The light from the monochromator or the radiations from the monochromator would fall on the sample cell as well as on the reference cell. The same radiation is split into two portions. One would pass through the reference cell, second would pass through the sample cell. Similarly, as with that of the space resolved spectrophotometer, the P naught is the power emitted from the reference cell and P is the power of the radiations emitting from the sample cell. The difference is amplified here from the same detector. Here you would use only one detector for both sample cell radiations as well as reference cell radiations, and both the radiations cover the same distance. The distance is compensated and reaches the at the same time at the detector, which is amplified, and null detector would give the results. There are different portions or parts. Double beam spectrophotometer is preferred over single beam spectrophotometer due to several reasons. For example, it compensates the short term fluctuations in radiant output. For example, uh, there is somewhat of the fluctuation in the light or voltage. mm, if we use separate reference cell as well as the sample cell. For example, in case of a single beam spectrophotometer, we first place a reference cell, then we place a sample cell. It is possible that when we were placing the reference cell, there were different voltage, and when we placed the sample cell, the voltage were different. This type of fluctuation is not there in the case of double beam spectrophotometer, because the same time the same light radiations fall on both sample cell as well as a reference cell. Similarly, transducers or amplifier drifts are also compensated in case of double beam spectrophotometer. It may also compensate wide variations in source intensity with wavelength. If there is somewhat mm, intensity change or wavelength change in the source with the time, it is compensated in the double beam spectrophotometer, because double beam spectrophotometer uses the single radiation or single time radiations splitted into two portions for the reference cell as well as for the sample cell under the same condition, which does not take place in the single beam spectrophotometer. In single beam spectrophotometer, a reference is placed first, then after some time we would use the sample and we would take the reading separately. Components. There are different components used in the spectrophotometer. Are the first of all is sources of radiation. Argon, xenon, deuterium, tungsten lamp are used as a sources of radiation. Mostly we use the deuterium and tungsten lamps in UV visible spectrophotometer. Sample containers are made up of quartz, borosilicate, plastic, and obviously the quartz containers are preferred. Monochromators are quartz prism and gratings etc. are used as a monochromators, and detectors are photomultipliers. Photomultiplier tubes are used as a detectors in UV visible spectrophotometer. Deuterium and hydrogen lamps are used as a source of radiations. Here the excitation principle and the emergent or removal radiations emission in the deuterium lamp is given. Deuterium molecules are there in the lamp. Electrical energy fall on these molecules. They would become excited. Then the molecules is broken up into two deuterium atoms, and the excessive amount of energy is in the form of H nu. This H nu is the energy which falls in the UV region, UV visible in UV visible spectrophotometer, and it is of use to fall on the sample and it is detected. Excited deuterium molecules with fixed quantized energy. Obviously, it would take a fixed amount of energy which is quantized, and it will be in a fixed wavelength and fixed frequency, and that amount of energy would excite the deuterium molecule. It will be broken into deuterium atom, and the amount of energy will be emitted. This electrical energy will be equal to the amount of energy which is quantized. Electrical energy absorbed by the deuterium molecule will be equal to the amount of quantized energy for the deuterium molecule, and it will be splitted into three type of energies. Ed dash is the kinetic energy of one deuterium atom. Ed double dash is the kinetic energy of the second deuterium atom, while H nu is the amount of energy which we are using in UV region and which actually fall on the sample to take the results about the structure of the molecules. Components of the instrumentation sources: tungsten lamp is used for the visible region scan. Tungsten lamps usually use iodine in it. Actually, tungsten whenever tungsten vapors are produced at a very high temperature, those tungsten vapors may damage the glass walls and may accumulate on the glass walls. Iodine vapors are used there in the lamp. These iodine vapors would combine with that of the tungsten, and they would convert it into tungsten iodide. In this way the life of the lamp is enhanced to somewhat. All these radiation sources are here. They produce energies in different temperature zones: 2000 K, 3000 K, 4000 K, 6000 K. These are the unit of the brilliance taken equivalence to the temperature, and these all tungsten, carbon, xenon and Nernst glare produces energy in these brilliance regions. Two sources are required to scan the full range in UV visible spectrophotometer. One is a deuterium lamp, second one is a tungsten lamp. Deuterium lamp covers the UV region which is in between 200 to 330 nanometer, while the tungsten lamp covers visible region which is 330 to 700 nanometer. As with the dispersive IR, the lamp illuminates the entire band. Means in this type of the radiations emitter, the total range of the radiations from 200 to 700 would fall on the monochromator. Monochromator would gradually changes this radiations into small bands, and these bands will then fall on the sample. So to cover the entire range of the radiations, to cover the total regions from 200 to 700 nanometer, a larger time is gradually required for uh, for for making the whole spectra. Beam splitter separate bands sends separate bands to the sample each time a new band, and it takes time. Detectors measure the difference between the I and I naught. I is the intensity of the light through the sample. and I naught is the intensity of the light which passes through the reference material, and the difference between I and I naught is plotted there at the readout. Dispersive IR takes greater time because it splits the UV visible band into different regions to fall that on the sample. A recent improvement is the diode array spectrophotometer, in which the radiations, a full scan of the radiation is incident on the sample. After emerging from the sample, a diode array detector would separately take the spectrum of all these radiations. This one is a best method, is a good method in order to obtain the spectrum because it takes lower time. Each individual band of the UV is detected by an individual diode on a silicon wafer simultaneously. A silicon wafer, in diode array there are several silicon wafers attached. Each wafer accept a separate region of the light and would take that one in the form of a spectrum. So a spectrum is obtained in lower time. But there is a limitation, and that limitation is the size of the diode. It's a larger sized, and loss of resolution take place at this one. So a good amplification is required in this case. Sample handling. Virtually all UV spectra are recorded. Solution phase. We first make the solution of the sample, then we would use it in UV visible spectrophotometer. Cell, which are also called as cuvettes, are made up of plastic, glass or quartz. Quartz is transparent in the full scan of UV visible, that is 200 to 700 nanometer range, while when we use plastic or glass etc., they are suitable for the visible spectra, not for UV, because they absorb in the UV region as well and would interfere. Concentration, we would cover shortly, is empirically determined. Actually, spectrophotometer is one of the best way to find out the unknown concentration by comparing it with the known concentration. So it is used to find unknown concentrations for the solutions for the samples which absorbs in UV or visible region. Solvents must be transparent. Solvent in which we make the solution of the sample, it should be transparent in the whole range which we are going to cover, that is 200 to 700 nanometer. The solvent should not absorb the radiation. The wavelength below which a solvent absorbs all type of the radiation is called as cutoff wavelength for that solvent. There are spectra are obtained up to 200 nanometers, so typically only need to lack conjugated pi systems or carbonyls. We would avoid those solvents which would have the carbonyl system or pi systems to use because they would absorb above 200 nanometer wavelength. Some commonly known solvents are acetonitrile, chloroform, cyclohexane, and their cutoff wavelengths are given 95%. Ethanol, N-hexane, methanol, isoctane, and their cutoff wavelengths are here. So we should be aware of the cutoff wavelength of each solvent when we would use this one in the UV visible spectrophotometer to make a solution. Additionally, solvents must preserve the fine structure, should not alter the structure of the sample. The structure of the sample should not be altered whenever the solution is made, and also it should have least interaction with that of the solvent. Solvent should have a least interaction with that of the solution. H bonding or any type of the vibrational and rotational energy levels are affected by this H bonding, and electronic transitions are also affected. So the spectra will be affected whenever there is an extensive hydrogen bonding of the solvent with that of the sample. Or dipole-dipole interaction would decrease the effects, but they would also affect the spectrum. So non-polar solvents are preferred over the polar solvents. Non-polar solvents are best to use because they give the better spectra, but it is not true always. Always it is not possible. Mostly, in most of the cases, non-polar solvents give better results. For example, here we have isooctane with that of the sample. If a sample is dissolved in isooctane, we have clear bands here, clear and peaks are here, and these clear peaks will be characteristic for the sample. But when we use ethanol as a solvent, which is more polar than that of isooctane, then these peaks disappears and a band is formed. So non-polar solvents are preferred over polar solvents. Questions about this whole lecture are where radiations losses take place while working with UV visible spectrophotometers. Similarly, the difference between single beam and double beam spectrophotometer. We should be able to answer all these questions here.